Alright, everybody, and we're ready to get started with our next run here. Mickey No Tokyo Disneyland Daiboken with Erix. So, Erix, I'll hand that over to you.
Alright, thank you. I'm Erix33. Today I'm going to be showing off Super Famicom game Mickey No Tokyo Disneyland Daiboken. So it never saw release outside of Japan, so not too many people may have heard of it. I guess I'll be ready to start in 3, 2, 1, go. So in this game, Mickey's going through Tokyo Disneyland to try to find 6 of his friends who are lost in the park. So each level is going to be based on one attraction of the park. Current level we're in is Pirates of the Caribbean themed. So unlike other Mickey Mouse games, in this one he's equipped with a backpack that can fill up helium and water balloons. And we're mostly going to be using the helium balloons to try to rocket around as quickly as possible. And the water balloons are just to knock out enemies and to lay down switches. So this level does not really have any enemies, so I shouldn't be making so many mistakes. There isn't really any RNG to deal with. But hopefully I got my movement cleaned up now. Right, the next section is our first water stage. So when we're at the surface of the water, we can jump out of it, which we're going to use a lot to try to jump on our way into the water to avoid actually going underneath and slowing us down. Because actually swimming in this game is pretty slow. We're quickly approaching our first boss of the game. Hopefully I'll manage to get to it without dying. Take out that gold real quick. So the first 2 bosses, we should be able to stun lock pretty easily. Just want to get in close, and as soon as they're done being invulnerable, we pelt them real quick with a water balloon. That's quick work made of our first boss. And then we're off to the next section of the park, which is Big Thunder Mountain. So here there's a lot more enemies to deal with. We're going to try to hit this enemy with our helium balloon. So helium balloons generally they don't deal damage to enemies until we release them. So if we just fly directly into an enemy, we'll end up taking damage. But if we release it at just the right time, then it'll float right out of our hand and knock them out of our way. Nearly ran right into those rocks. And I made it up that incline faster than I usually do. And the screen coming up, we're going to have a little hand cart that the game wants us to ride on. But we're going to skip it because it's a little bit slow. And we've got a different mode of transportation we want to take. So buzzards start spawning in the opposite direction we're going, so we're going to run this way. Get one running to the right, and we're just going to ride it halfway through the level. Moves a good bit faster than the hand carts, and it's a lot cooler. We're skipping one more hand cart there, and we got a third one coming up that we will take because a lot of pits here we can fall into. So this screen has a few interesting things. There's a barrel at the top of that hill we can ride down to safely avoid spikes, but we're gonna just go a little quicker with our balloons. And here we got an updraft that tries to knock us back to the beginning of the level. Overshot a little bit, but at least I clipped the edge of the ground just enough to slow me down. So here we need to lay down some water balloons as platforms. Get about halfway across. Did not make it quite high enough. All right, we got one more big spiky incline to get through. And we're almost to the second boss. Another fight with Pete. All the bosses are fights with Pete. So this one we want to stun lock him again. This time makes a little better timing because we can't just fire from the ground because they'll just smack into the side of the cart here. Alright, at least that attack was not low. So I gave him the opportunity to kill me there, but luckily he only did one low attack. And then we're off to the next section, which is Splash Mountain. We're making our way down the mountain to another little water section. We'll grab some health here. So the fish here and in the next couple sections can mess us up a little bit. They're one of the three most kind of RNG heavy enemies we can encounter. It didn't give us any problems there. Now we're on to a mid-boss that we have to knock up into the ceiling. Placement was bad there. Here we got more fish to deal with and these little wasps that get in the way. Hopefully we can avoid taking much more damage because we might be needing to do a little damage boosting in the next section. Gotta be a little careful with these gators right here. Tried to avoid that fish getting in my way, but ended up just wasting time. So this section, it wants us to ride those logs down the rapids. I may just barely make it out of here alive. Alright. So if I can jump off the top of the water here, I might not need to take a death. Alright. I'm just going to grab some health right here to hopefully make it through the rest of the stage safely. Didn't want to drop into that log. Very lucky I've avoided those bees. Got one more screen for our next fight with Pete. Take a quick ride down Splash Mountain. So at this point, Pete has gotten tired of our stun locking shenanigans. So he has himself completely blocked off by a wall of thorns. We're just gonna sit in the on the far left here and wait out all this trash he's dropping on us. He's gonna start dropping some alligators that we have to deal with. And we just need to take them out as quickly as possible to progress the fight. We just run over and watch a little cutscene of Pete falling down into the water. And now we're heading off into the Haunted Mansion. The first screen's pretty simple, just a large vertical room. We gotta make our way up. The next screen gets a little more interesting. So coming up, we're gonna have one big central door that we need to open up by hitting a button behind 4 other doors. This is a real long room. Just good time to mention that for some reason holding the jump button while you're firing a balloon up causes you to hop just a little higher at the end of the shot, which makes this room a little bit faster. And something I did not realize till pretty recently. Alright, we got our first little mid-boss of the Haunted Mansion. Alright, I got an early hit, but I missed the second large balloon hit, so I'm probably going to end up taking 2 damage here. Which, for some reason, it's vulnerable for like 1 frame right after the initial flicker, and then it's just a little while later before it becomes permanently vulnerable. So it's possible to do that with only taking 1 hit of damage. But I messed up my timing. We got a long hallway with pits that'll open up beneath us and these doors that try to drop down and knock us out. We're gonna jump down this pit on purpose because it sends us to the far right side of the room. Alright, now we got basically a quick repeat of the very first stage's mid-boss. And fall down another pit to send us to the left side of the screen. In the next screen, what we're intended to do is jump on a bunch of buttons to release stairs to race this ghost to the top. Or we're going to quickly slip through his side of the screen to just speed up the process by a whole lot. Because anytime you actually make contact with that ghost, it resets the room. One more bust we need to knock down to open the third switch. The next section does not... meant to run accidentally. Press down. So the next section does not exactly have a boss we have to defeat to open the switch. Just that the next screen is going to have a lot of knights that as soon as we walk by are going to start following us. Which is going to make getting back out of the room a little difficult. Alright. And this screen is the main reason I do the rooms in the order I do. Just because in case I happen to have low health at this point, you can just take a quick death on the first night after you've hit the button to respawn at the beginning of the room. But I got through the rest of the mansion, very little damage, so didn't need to bother with it. Now we're out into the cemetery, out back, I guess. The main thing on this stage to worry about is there's a couple bottomless pits that will spawn little blue ghosts. And if they make contact with you, you're just gonna have to fall straight down and have to restart the whole screen. So I wanna basically blast over those pits from far enough away that the ghosts don't have time to spawn. So I messed up my first two hits on Pete, so this fight has gone off the rails. Alright, should be coming back around this way. Alright, now I'm heading off to Space Mountain. So it's unfortunate I took that much damage there, because after each boss you get a 5 health refill. So I ended that at 2, so I'm 1 health short of full, which... Alright, fortunately those water gun people did not try to bully me. They can just really snipe you right out of the air if they feel like it. Hopefully I'll be able to slide through a next force field without bothering with that spider bot. So this button is perfectly positioned that we can just run across it and through the force field as it's flickering. Pretty neat. Now we just got to platform around a bunch more spider bots. Now we're heading into a bit of a teleporter maze. We've got a couple rooms with branching paths. And if we take the wrong teleporter, it usually sends us to like a little treasure room and just loops us back around. wastes a chunk of time. So the next room is going to be a lot like that previous spider bot room, except for now it's populated with people firing water guns at us. Fortunately, we got a power up we can grab right here. Should keep us invincible for the rest of this screen. And then we're just going to hop on the roller coaster real quick. And we're going to immediately jump off of it. And jump below the stage and jump across about halfway across the stage. Alright, so that was basically started that early. That was kind of an intended shortcut. Now we're going to take a quick unintended shortcut. We're supposed to head over to those spider bots and have to worry with them. But instead we're going to clip slightly into the floor to trigger the scene transition below us. So that's basically the biggest kind of predictable glitch in the game. There's one later where maybe we'll get to despawn a door, but that's the only one that we can basically trigger on command. Alright, so that fight can be pretty frustrating. Once he starts sliding, he'll slide after each successful hit and can just keep sliding as long as he wants. But I think we only got one unnecessary slide, so that was real lucky. And now we're off to, I believe this is based off the Cinderella Castle Mystery Tour at Tokyo Disneyland. So the next room coming up in a casual playthrough, we're supposed to use water balloons on all these torches, or these candles, to show you the secret exit. And this screen, we're supposed to use water balloons to make little platforms to safely traverse these ice spikes. We're just going to damage boost through it and take a quick death on the next screen to refill our health. We're going to want, if at all possible, to have full health coming up on the next mid-boss. Which we're just basically going to position ourselves well and then damage race it. So right here, we're supposed to jump on this switch to release some platforms, but we're once again just going to jump below the stage and rocket across. So here's the door that there's a chance will despawn. It despawned, so we don't have to push that switch up above it. And we're off to our mid-boss fight. So I want to get on a very particular pixel here that will force this boss's movement down to the bottom right, but will give us just enough room to avoid some damage. Alright, so now it can only hit us when it juts its head out to move. And it bugged up. No, it didn't. Alright, I thought it had bugged for a little bit. Sometimes it'll get to where it doesn't deal any damage at all. Alright, good. 5 life is good amount to have for the final boss. We want to grab that invincibility cap so that we can avoid, or we can ignore these spike platforms. I'm a little high. I really don't want to bonk my head here. All right. Good. So now we are to the final fight with Pete. And time will be coming up after this fight. It's got 3 phases. First phase, he's just hiding behind his electrical force fields there. And we just got to take out his henchmen as quickly as we can. For the first phase, they always spawn in the exact same locations. Got one more wave before Pete's going to join the fight himself. And now Pete can spawn in one of 2 locations, which we can tell if there's a puff of smoke in the middle, he's going to be on the far right. Otherwise, he's on the far left. We got to get 3 more hits on him before he starts the last phase where he actually gets dangerous. He's going to start shoving us around with gusts of wind, trying to knock us into his henchmen. And we're going to want to be right in the middle so we can hopefully get an early hit. Fired that off a little too early. But we got enough life, we should be able to tank every hit, even if we time badly. And time will be on fade to black after I get, I think, 2 more hits. So only got 1 early hit on him, but at least I did not have to play it safe because I got here with enough health. Alright, so time will be coming up right soon. And time. And that was Mickey no Tokyo Disneyland Daiboken. I think it's a real fun little platformer. I think it's a shame it didn't get a wider release, because I think it could have been a pretty popular Mickey Mouse game. And I appreciate License-A-Thon letting me show this kind of hidden gem off.
Yeah, thank you so much for showing that off. That was a super fun run. The movement in that game is really wild.
Yeah, it's real fun.
It looks like a lot of fun, and it's really fun to watch. Very fast paced, all kinds of gnarly stuff happening. Thank you so much for showing that off. That was a great run.
All right, thank you for having me.
Of course. Is there anything you want to shout out, like any social media or anything?
No, just good luck to the rest of the runners.
All right. Thank you so much, Erix, and thanks so much everyone else. Stick around while we get ready